Okay, this is going to be my fourth try. I'm starting to get frustrated at myself. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm just getting rusty, apparently. So, every one that I have done so far has been way too long, but I am trying to take my time a little bit because I kind of feel like 2026 so far has been a little bit crazy for all three of us. Um, and just on a funny note, so I am now a supervisor at my job, which means that I'm on the phone a lot less. And foolishly I was foolishly thinking that I would actually have a little bit more time during the day to delve into some of this stuff, and I was way wrong. I had no idea how needy the staff actually is at my job. I mean, I things I never imagined. It's been an eventful year. We'll just say that much. So to start with, I was research. So this is about a month's worth of off and on research that I'm going to be going through, but it's not going to be too terribly long. So I started off combing through some of our DNA matches. Amanda Wheat was one of those. I had to reach out to her directly because her father's side, she didn't really know them that well. And so that's kind of what this tree is. Originally, when constructing the tree, I kind of thought, and it still could be, that this Martha Griffin and Laban Ford link might have been um, the link, which was kind of a dead end for me. But for one reason or another, the name Willhite, spelled with either one L or two, has come up multiple times since then, and it is now kind of one of the cornerstones of how I'm getting into all this stuff. Um, so her father's nine was a Willhite line, and there were a variety of things that I kept finding with the Willhites that made me focus on them. I did also even find a grave where a Willhite married a Mills, which I didn't ever wasn't ever able to track that Mills down. Probably should try to do that a little bit more. But with that said, I did also this isn't Denise's tree, but this is my McCluskey Ford tree, which also has Denise's Griffin Evans line, and she has a lot of this on her Boone County tree as well. And I'm sending this to both of you, so I just say she, but I could say you, depending on who's listening. But so Robert, the son of Robert, married, and they were each married, I believe, multiple times. But one of his marriages did come to Martha Willhite, um, and I do believe, from what I've gathered, that this is going to be the same Willhite family. At least that's what Ancestry is telling me. Now, on a side note, and I don't know if this means anything, whenever I was just kind of going up a little bit earlier today, and you have to go up a little ways. Now, of course, there is a Williams line, which makes me, wonder if that's because I have a Williams line, but then again, everybody does. Um, but I did notice that there was a Higgs up here, 1765. So I mean, again, we're going quite a ways out there. But the only thing that I thought was interesting, because I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, this is worth a look, and it was an African American, which actually came up as having this Hicks family, and of course, this Hicks family tree, and of course, like, I did all the, tried to figure out if anybody was linked to him, and again, I don't know if he even did the DNA test. That's one thing that I hate about Ancestry is it doesn't tell you. And granted, the fact that it is a tree with, owned by an African American doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it doesn't really happen to me all that often whenever I am researching anything. So, I mean, I thought that was somewhat interesting, and it's probably an avenue that I will go back to eventually, because, I mean, that would be basically like Higgs leading into Will Height or Will Hoyt. It feeds into Denise's Griffin line. One thing also that I noticed is Robert had a daughter named Viola, and 2 of their 3 children were born in Texarkana or Miller County, Arkansas, which is basically like that very, very rural pinpoint on the map where my recent Pearson family is from. It's not a very big area, and so I thought that was very interesting. The fact that they were born there, so at some point, you know, this Griffin or they were in Miller County, but it wasn't. It was apparently so brief that it wasn't caught on a census or anything like that. They were in and out somewhat pretty quickly because by the time that 1938 rolls around, they're back in they're in California, and that's where they stay. I just wanted to mention that because again, I don't see Miller County listed very often unless I'm researching my own family. So, looking on this Willhite line, I did usually, which is kind of a hit or miss type of approach. I searched my DNA matches for Willhite. I pulled up Diane Wall. I have a lot of matches to Diane Wall. I mean, an absolute ton. So, and I had to make it 50 people per page. Otherwise, it would be like 2,000 pages or something like that. But just kind of looking over here, so you've got a lot of the keys. You've got Erica Easton Hall. These are all people that I'm very familiar with, that I've seen many times before. The further back into my tree you get, they could literally be connected to anybody. You've got Mills connections, you've got Pearson connections, you've got Cole connections, you've got Atkins connections, you've got Williams connections, you've got everybody. Whenever you're getting back this far, and you'll see in the notes, Kit is the one that has done most of the notes in here. And so she's the one that's put a lot of these in here. A cousin of mine that, has access to my tree as well. You're going to see some people. There's a Robert Haley and Elizabeth Gross, and you're going to see a lot of Simmons folks as well. Her daughter Mary married into a Simmons line. There's as many Simmons folks as there is anybody. And this Minton line, that was the thing. I was thinking that I had the line figured out, but I haven't yet. And I don't even know if Minton is actually the link in all of this. That's really what I have left to try to figure out. She even made a note here, Marion Minton, 1874, Missouri. And she references these mysterious Mintons quite often. But the Seagraves, that is somebody that I have thought is connected to us, and I still have bookmarks dedicated to her to go back to as far as our research is concerned. But anyway, getting back to this, so at the very bottom is one of our matches, Michael Kemp. So Michael Kemp obviously is one of our matches that comes up. And, we know what we see there. So you've got Diane Wall there, and then you've got the Hornbeaks, you've got Emily Arklander, GM, we've got the GMs, we've got the Fords, we've got all the trucks and cars and all that going. So that was interesting to me. Now, also, I ran into Bethany King as well. That's the only thing that I didn't have in my notes. These are my notes, by the way. It's been a lot going on. So Bethany King, she pulls up the same people, but at the very, let me go a couple people here. So this is, and I was going to mention this is a mystery to me. And I've explained it 5 times because I've done this video 5 times. But originally, she was one of the first people that I was researching because she was a mutual match with Denise. But she no longer is, and she hasn't been for years. But I still have access to this guy's tree, or actually because it's owned by Edward Johnson. He still gave me access to it. But I remember that she was a DNA match to this person, which is his wife, obviously. But now they don't show. However, Alexis Hammond does. That is another one of our matches on here. And that even pulls up Denise, so that pulls up Corey, who's my cousin. Then you've got the Hornbeaks. You got David Wall. a lot of Wall names on this as well. Amanda Wheat, Denise, Michael Kemp. So I feel like this is getting warm. I feel like we're getting warmer with some of these avenues. Um, and so I don't think it's a Willhite connection directly, but I think that that's what's led me. I'm. It appears that it's Denise's Griffin line, her Boone County Griffin. Her Eliza Nevins and Robert Griffin. Maybe even a generation of. I mean, it seems to be pretty clear, or at least for her. Now, whenever you're looking at my tree, and a lot of our DNA matches come to these folks here. And this is the other part. I don't know if somehow these are all together, and this is going to be my last point, but we've got a ton of matches that point, to this Woodward Dean line. So many, so more than I can even count. And that line I already have on my tree. I was even doing this lock name, which the Mills married into the Locks. I was even looking into that because if you go way back, you've got a Sarah Pearson there, who I do believe is connected to another Pearson line of mine. It's like my 10th grandparents, so I don't really think that would be a thing, but I even went down that rabbit hole. But William Dean and Alice Woodward, if you get to my tree, I mean, they're already in my tree, and they're related, they're cousins. You're getting so far back. I mean, honestly, but they're already there. I've got all these people accounted for. Alexander Dean, the Woodwards, all of them. So I don't know if somehow the Deans and the Woodwards and all that are somehow joined in with the Willhites or whatever, or if we're looking, I guess I would think so somehow. I would really have to wrap my head around that, but it seems like, this is where that line is in my tree, and again, it does. I've not even there's a Haley, which I probably need to expand this out a little bit more. Of course, make sure it's right, first of all, but then expand it out a little bit more. And, that would be one thing that I should probably do. Just check. Yeah, so fourth cousin, fifth removed. So, these people are relatives of mine. But, whenever you're going back, but again, it brings in, for example, Rachel Williams, who I know that there is a marriage somewhere to a Williams line that is also the Williams line that Jacob is connected to as well. And I forget which one of these, and I don't want to spend 10 minutes to try to find it. But so, with so many of these matches pointing toward the Dean family, I'm kind of tempted to look here as well. But, all I do know is that Diane Wall, which I believe is going to be my focus next, her tree isn't very much. But I'm pretty convinced, yeah, her tree is absolutely nothing, but you can see her mother was a Willhite, born in Missouri. So I just want to share that. That's where I'm at right now. And I will be in touch.